What's that sound? Somebody's watching me. No, that's just my OCD.
Hey Mel.
Hey Ray.
Hey listeners.
You're listening to Obsessive Compulsive Divas.
OC Divas.
A true crime and all things that make you go, what the hell? Podcast.
Hosted by two professionals who want to talk about unprofessional things.
I'm Mel.
And I'm Ray.
And this is our very first episode of OC Divas.
Yes.
So excited.
Please get started.
A few months in the making.
Yes, definitely. So, okay, so Mel, why did we choose Obsessively Compulsive Divas as our name?
Well, you might want to tell the listeners why, because that was your idea.
Yeah, but it totally encompasses us as people. So I was sitting at my desk and wanting to start a podcast for the longest time.
Yes, I recall that. Almost every lunch date.
Yes.
It was like, so what, we're going to get a podcast. We're going to do it. We're going to do it.
I'm going to start this damn podcast. I was thinking about how we always talk about our OCDs because we work together, but in the office, we always need something we need it perfect. I was thinking OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. And then I was like, obsessively compulsive, which sounded more fabulous. And I was like, what? Obsessively Compulsive Divas. And then I hopped on our business Skype and I Skyped her and I was like, our podcast is going to be Obsessively Compulsive Divas, OC Divas for short. And then about 10 minutes later,
I bought the website. I'm obsessed with social media and websites. The first thing I thought about when she told me the name was, yes, that's it. 2, I guess we're doing a podcast. And 3, I got to buy a website. So went online and bought obsessivelycompulsivedivas.com.
and then we started an IG, and then we also started a Twitter.
So our IG, if you want to follow us, is the number 2, which is 2 OC Divas. So that's 2 OCDIVAS. And then our Twitter is OCDivas_.
Yes. And so please, after this first episode, you're going to hopefully give us another chance times 10 because
we're a little nervous with these mics in our face, but
yeah, it might be a little rough.
Funny. We're really funny. We think we're hilarious.
We laugh at each other all day, every day. I enjoy other people's conversations. I laugh at them. I hope people can laugh at our conversations. And OCD people, if you are one of us, you love your routines, and we hope that maybe one day we become a part of your routine. It's okay if you're not OCD.
Just feel free to laugh at us. Laugh your ass off at us.
Yes.
Everyone needs to laugh.
Yes.
You can laugh with us, laugh at us. Just laugh.
We like to talk about horrific things, maybe a little bit paranormal, and
some odd things you would be like,
yeah,
that's not real.
No.
But it is real.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of stories that I get on like my alerts on my phone from different apps that I follow with these random stories that I'm like, this cannot be real. So we're going to have little mini episodes of like tea time.
Yes.
Where we
spill some tea.
But we're going to be kind of talking about the current events of like random things that are going on throughout.
That are shorter than a regular
so
episode.
Like it's going to be during our lunch break because like, edit that out.
Edit that out.
Like Ray said, we are professionals. So we are working.
Mm-hmm.
It's not 9 to 5, but like 7:30 to 4:30.
Like that Dolly Parton song.
Yeah.
And if I got that wrong, you guys can always email us at
ocdivas.podcast@gmail.com.
On our tea time, we totally want to like read back listener stories. Like, for instance, if you guys have a coworker you want to talk about, but it's like a huge secret and you want to do it like incognito, you can always write into us and we'll read your tea. We'll spill your tea for you.
Yeah. We'll take ownership. We'll pretend that it's
you can give
us
having
those issues. We
won't
give your name. And until we have listeners,
we
will just do our current events.
We do. Friends and family. Hi, friends and family.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Hi. Actually, not my mom and not my dad.
Well, I don't think my dad knows what a podcast is. So let's talk about how we met. As we've mentioned a little while ago, we are coworkers. So we met about 4 years ago when I came along to our current company.
Organization.
There we go. We worked in the same department. So we basically were coworkers. That was it. Just worked together. Ray left for about a year to another department, and then she was promoted. And I think a little before she was promoted, I was promoted. So we eventually started working. We're in 2 different departments, but we started working closely together. 2 years ago is when we kind of started getting a little closer and like hanging out at lunch. And then just getting to know like our outside personalities, not our professional personalities. And
because in there, you can't say what you want to say.
No. It's like we're like being recorded at all times.
It felt yes. Well, now ever since we started recording and hearing ourselves back, we're on the phone and she hears a click in the background, and then all of a sudden she's like, we're being recorded, and she hangs up on me. And so she did it 3 times today.
It's like keep hearing this like clicking noise, and then I'll hear like a echo.
Yeah.
So it's like someone just gone the other
Someone's
line.
recording us.
So
I was like, yeah, but we're not talking about anything that can get us fired.
But still, my paranoia from being
an OC
diva and loving true crime and watching all the Netflix of documentaries on true crime and current TV shows.
And loving makeup.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah, we love our makeup. And that's what makes us probably like diva, you know.
And we have our fake lashes.
Oh my God, we love fake eyelashes all over our faces.
Yes.
So that you guys, if you saw us, which maybe one day when this podcast gets big and we can quit our jobs, we'll make an unveiling of our faces and our lashes. But also, like, we probably wouldn't have actually hung out if our mutual friend, Jay, didn't pull us together and started us on lunch dates.
She says that, but I don't remember him doing this.
He did. He totally did. And he'll probably take ownership of it, too.
Oh, no, he will.
He'll be
even
like,
if he didn't, but he will.
I just remember him. He was just like, because we would go to lunch when he was learning. When he was learning.
Edit
that out. When he was learning his current job. And so I'd have to give him, like, you know, some pep talks, and then all of a sudden he was just like, hey, we should invite I'm fucking
edit out.
And he was like,
we should invite me.
yes, you, Mel.
So we became close. So it's been about
2 years almost
2 years.
Yeah.
Where we've gotten close. So how did you find out about my obsession?
Oh,
Actually, no. You didn't. I think, or did you? Maybe I was telling my random stories. I like to tell stories.
Oh my gosh, she does.
I'll just call people and be like, hey, did you hear da 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 da?
But she doesn't think about, like, maybe this could make someone cringe.
No,
you know?
because I don't cringe. So I think everyone thinks like me.
And I thought that was awesome because I always feel like I have to watch myself around everybody. But when we were having a conversation about, gosh, I keep forgetting his name.
Henry Weinstein.
And we were eating, I was eating sushi, and she was eating her
garlic edamame.
2 plates.
I have 2 bowls of them.
And so I don't follow things. I just knew it was happening, and I was like, oh, what's this guy doing? What's up? And she's like, ooh, girl. And so she turned to me, and she started talking about what he was doing to these other actresses. I didn't even know, but she was describing it in detail of what this man was doing. But she was describing it, and then in hand gestures and everything. And I was like, this girl is not backing down. I admired that about her. So, but then, like, the more that we were having lunch, the more that we were talking, I found that the subjects that we were talking about, I was like, wow. And then I started listening to My Favorite Murder.
Hi, Karen. Hi, Georgia. I know you're listening.
Hey, I know, right? Give us some tips. And then I was like, Mel is going to love this. And I kept telling her, I was like, have you ever listened to a podcast? And she's like, no. And I was like, you have to listen to MFM. And so I said, you are definitely going to love it. And
I do. And I just started listening in February. So today's November 1st.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I just started listening. No, actually it wasn't February. No? You started listening in February.
Really?
Yes. Because I think I started listening like in May. So,
I'm already caught up.
So yeah, I'm like, Ray's caught up. I still have like 30 more episodes to get caught up. They just have so many and they come out weekly. So I'm like, slow down.
Yeah, but start backwards.
Yeah, I started doing that, but then I'm like, no, I need to stay in order.
That's
my
true.
OCD is getting on me. I need to stay in order.
Oh, they're referring to private jokes.
Because they'll start talking about things about something that happened like in a previous episode, and I'm like, wait, I haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah,
yeah, or the corrections corner, and I'm like, wait, I never heard what needed to be corrected. But so when Ray introduced that to me, I just fell in love with it, and since then is when she kept saying, "Let's do our own podcast. Let's do our own podcast." I'm
like, my gosh,
yeah.
Because every time we had a conversation,
this was going to be real.
But once the name was picked out,
that's what got me.
Yes,
I just thought it was perfect. It was perfect for us. And I was like, okay. With this episode, we wanted to kind of get into each of our stories of what got us into true crime and what kind of pulled us in that direction and made us interested. I don't know. What made us interested in it?
What really pulled us in and got us obsessed with that? What are our childhood or adolescent or whatever that just triggered this sick habit?
Before listening to MFM, when Ray tried to explain to me what it was about, and it was like making humor and murder, I just thought those two cannot go together. But in listening to the different podcasts that actually do it, I thought, well, it can be done. I mean, unfortunately, murders happen daily, so I guess telling the story in a way to where it becomes more interesting in people's mindsets of the way and why they do it. It just is really intriguing to me. And I always wanted to be, actually not always, but a few years ago when I was in my 20s, I thought I wanted to be a policeman or policewoman.
I didn't even know this.
I did it? I thought I told you before.
You have not told me this before.
I was going to go. I wanted to go. I think I was like 28. I wanted to go into the sheriff's academy.
Oh my gosh, with perfect makeup and lashes.
And nails.
And nails.
The only thing is I didn't actually want to like patrol the streets. I wanted to just be a detective.
You're arrested for that outfit.
I wanted to be a detective, but I was like, I didn't want to go through the whole steps of everything. So
I know, and you don't want to be shot at.
No,
either.
yeah, well, that was why I didn't want to be running. Running in my heels.
You don't want to run?
I like to wear heels.
I just want to know the tea and figure it out.
Yes. Yeah. Which I guess I didn't have to like be a sworn person. I could have went like a different route, forensic type thing, but I wasn't like a scientist. I didn't get my degree in being a scientist. So
we're gonna Frankenstein this together. We're gonna figure some shit out, but we don't want to carry a gun and shoot it at people. We don't want to get shot at. No. We want to wear makeup and look cute.
And I still want to keep my nails. I don't think you can have nails as a policewoman.
Wouldn't that be weird? I mean, I'd be like, cute, girl. But then I'd be like, how are you going to arrest somebody? Isn't that going to get caught on some cuffs? You're going to break that. And then you're going to be pissed. You're
and then
like beat down
your
that
eyelashes
person.
are going to be like coming off because you're running and sweating.
I know.
No, thank you. Okay. So do you want to go first? Or do you want me to?
Let's do you.
Okay. My love for true crime started when I was about 9 years old. And that was like in about 1989, actually. And I would watch America's Most Wanted with my mom. We also watched made-for-television movies, and that's where I saw the TV movie David. That's not what I'm talking about, but I just remember that movie, or that TV movie. So anyways, with America's Most Wanted, there was something about John Walsh's voice that captivated me and had my attention. And for those of you who don't know what America's Most Wanted is, because it's no longer on TV.
That's so sad.
I know. Whatever. They're like 20 years old. That's even sadder.
I know.
I want to be 20.
Yeah.
It's basically, it was a TV show, a true TV show hosted by John Walsh. And they basically featured reenactments of dangerous fugitives that were portrayed by actors, mixed in with on-camera interviews, and then John Walsh always narrated the show. They actually caught a few fugitives by displaying the photographs of the actual person at the end of the show, and they had a toll-free hotline number where viewers could call in and give information about, fugitives that were still out at 1-800-CRIME-TV. During that time, there were over 1,000 captures because of the show.
Oh, nice.
So the concept of America's Most Wanted came from a German show that I will not even try to pronounce because you will learn very quickly that is a weakness of mine. Pronunciation.
Oh my, just try
Or when
it.
I try to talk, when I talk too fast and I'm like, I stumble over my words and I make words up. So
it's like your tongue trips over your teeth.
Yes.
And then it's caught in your lips.
Yeah. Good thing I don't have braces. Anyways, and then there was also a British show called Crime Watch. So
say it like a British person.
I don't know how to talk British.
Is that how you watch?
I get my British and my Australian and all those languages confused. See, there was a little Australian.
I liked it. It happened. I love it when it does sound like it, and you don't just sound like you're talking like this.
Anyway, so originally the show started in 1987. So they were currently at that time, they were looking for a host to host the show. And they started with Joseph Wambog. And he was a former police officer and he had a best-selling book out. So he was not interested. He just felt like it was more like a dragnet type show. And he just thought, this isn't going to be a hit. And then I said, big mistake.
Big mistake.
Big, huge. From Pretty Woman. So then they also considered a U.S. attorney, and he became the future New York mayor. Do you know who that is?
Rudolph Giuliani.
There we go.
Woo! Fun
But then
fact.
they decided, you know what? We're not going to go with any politicians just because they may use the show as a platform for their personal political gain.
Oh, they
So-
don't do that.
Nope,
Just
sorry.
kidding.
They're all good people.
Oh, yeah. They tell the truth all day, every
all
day.
day, every day.
Trust
Anyway,
them all.
so they decided finally in their search with John Walsh. And he was recently in the media because his 6-year-old son, Adam Walsh, was kidnapped and murdered in 1981. So Walsh was an advocate
That's
for
when I was
new...
born.
1981?
That was the year I was born.
Whatever.
A year
I was
that
born
was-
1980. So Walsh was an advocate for new legislation to protect missing children, as well as the creation of the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. He agreed to host the show, so he did the pilot show in February 1988, where that's when America's Most Wanted debuted, and I was 8 years old. You were 7. So within 4 days of the show debuting, it caught one of the FBI's 10 most wanted fugitive, David James Roberts.
Get him.
He was a convicted killer that had escaped from prison by digging his way out with an axe.
What?
Yeah. How do you get an axe in prison? Like, how do you...
Oh, yeah. How does that happen? Hi, Grandma. Thank you for my cake. It's a big cake. It's a big birthday.
Like, what do they have that they can make an axe or even get access? Yeah, whatever.
Access
Anyways,
to
enough
axes.
about him. Enough about him.
Yeah, but
He'll
I
probably
really
come
want to
up
go
with-
on this tangent.
We'll talk about him in another episode.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So anyways,
Foreshadow.
going back to Adam Walsh, who was John Walsh's son. When I heard the story about him, I was, again, about 9 years old, and it really hit me because I remember watching the movie about him called Adam. His song continues. I believe he was about 5 years old. No, he was 5 years older than me. So the thought of, like, someone my age being kidnapped, it, like, really caught my attention.
Yeah.
So I was like, Mama, keep me away from killers, please.
Keep me away from these killers.
But in all seriousness, I think after the publicity of the case, there are panics by parents of their kids being abducted. I know this is my first realization that killings just didn't happen in the movies. Mm-hmm. I still have that fear lingering.
Oh,
in me.
yeah.
And-
I remember hearing a child go, children can die?
Yeah.
You know, I was like, oh, it was a child, so young, so innocent. And then when you burst that bubble of, I'm going to live forever, that's when true crime love happens.
Yes, well, it definitely got my attention.
Yeah.
But they have that movie, Adam, on YouTube. I found it on YouTube. I actually wanted to watch it again because it's like the 80s like scenario.
Yeah.
Like the scene scenario.
Scenario. If you want to be.
The scene.
The scene.
Yeah. So anyways, so the story of Adam, he was abducted from a Sears department store in July 1981 in a Florida mall. He was shopping with his mom and she went to go ask a couple questions about a lamp. And so she left Adam at a kiosk where he was playing Atari. You remember Atari?
I remember Atari.
Do you really?
And I don't... Shut up. I remember Atari. Oh, yeah, but I was a Nintendo kid.
Yeah.
So, but I do remember that because I think my brother had Atari.
Yeah, I only remember Atari because my cousins had it. I never had one, but I always thought like that would be so cool to have like a stick with a red button. Yeah, so anyways, his mom left him playing with the Atari at a kiosk, and there were several other boys there, so I'm sure she thought, oh, he's safe. You know, he's going to be playing there with other little boys. I need to go ask these questions about a lamp. She had to go figure something out about a lamp.
I have anxiety just thinking about leaving.
I know. I could never. Like, I mean, nowadays we're like, I make sure that I'm holding my kid's hand. They're all in high school, and you're going to hold my hand.
Teenagers get kidnapped and killed.
Yeah. It was just a different time where,
I know.
you know, things weren't as crazy, I guess. And
Yeah,
now you hear so many stories, and with social media.
Yeah, my mom just tried to protect me from the devil. And I was like, Mom, okay, I think the devil's gonna get me no matter what. I'm just kidding. But it was just like, she was just undercover trying to protect me from the outside world by not letting me go anywhere.
Yeah, well, my mom was opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, we played outside till it was like dark and
Yeah.
street lights were on, and then we'd go inside and eat dinner.
Yeah,
But,
well, my mom kind of turned into that after I was in high school. Then she's just like, well, you got your
I was like
diploma.
8.
Oh, wow. I was really sheltered.
But actually, it was like all the neighborhood kids were the same way. We'd
Yeah.
all be out there playing. There was like 12, 13 of us.
Really?
In the neighborhood. Like about the same age.
It's kind of hard to take one
It
kid
was so
with a
much
certain
fun. Like, when
amount.
I think back, I'm like, my kids don't have that. Like, they
No.
just don't have that. There's no kids that they go outside and play with. And we,
sad.
you know, were riding bikes, running around, playing games,
yeah.
and going to each other's homes and, you know, swimming, whatever. It was just
Yeah.
a totally different world. But it was so much fun.
I know.
wish-
I see a kid walking around by themselves. I'm like, where's your mom? Like, that's what I'm thinking, the first thing. And then I'm like, what if I went up and I said, can I drive you back home? But then I'm the
You're
creeper.
the crazy. You're the stranger danger.
Stranger did. If that kid was trained right. I'm like, are you okay? If that kid runs away screaming, I'll be like, your mom's a good mom. But if they're like, you know what, I am kind of tired. Can you take me home? And can I have all your candy? I'd be like, your parents failed.
But we're not judging.
No. Never. Okay. Never, ever.
Okay. So anyways, once, as I mentioned, Adam's mom got all her questions answered. She went back where she left Adam, and the store manager had informed her that a scuffle had broken out with the boys. They were fighting over whose turn it was, so he kicked them out. The security had demanded that they leave the store. And the security had asked the older boys if their parents were there, and they had said no. So he figured that Adam was with those boys, so told them all to leave. So it was later speculated that Adam's parents said that Adam was probably too shy to speak up to the security guard to let him know that his mom was there. So he just, told all the boys to get out. And so they had left through one of the entrances, which was the opposite entrance of where Adam and his mom had entered. So when he walked out, the area was foreign to him.
Poor little guy.
I know. Well, it was believed that the older boys just left, because they were kicked out. So they just left. And Adam, waited outside and was left alone outside the store. Meanwhile, when Adam's mom was trying to look for Adam throughout the store, they were paging him over the PA and they continued looking for him. And she happened just to run into Adam's grandma, who also helped with the search. Then after 90 minutes of searching, I just thought that was kind of crazy when I read that. After 90 minutes, an hour and a half of searching, then they decided to call the police. The store can be that big to where you're searching one department store for an hour and a half before deciding to just call the police.
I try to empathize, and I go, if that was me and I was trying to find my kid...
No, I just start screaming, call the police! He may be right behind me, but call the damn police!
Help!
I do that a lot.
You do?
I just start yelling help.
Just randomly.
So anyways, 2 weeks after Adam had disappeared, they found his head severed.
Oh.
On the evening of August 10th, 1981. It was discovered by two fishermen in a drainage canal alongside the Florida Turnpike near Vero Beach, Florida, which was almost 130 miles away from Hollywood, which is where he went missing. The Florida Highway Patrol was informed of the discovery around 7:30 p.m. on August 10th. In the morning of August 11th, the Florida police rushed to get the dental records compared to find, the rain... Let me start over. The Florida police rushed dental records to the Vero Beach to compare them to the remaining findings. The remains. There we go. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
The head.
It's okay.
The head that they had found. So John Walsh and his wife, then they had appeared on national news on the Good Morning America show. So John was clinging to hope that Adam was still alive and that the body the head they had found was not his. Unfortunately, it was. They were able to, using the head that they had recovered, they were able to rule that the cause of Adam's death was asphyxiation. There we go. We're starting.
I'm going to help
with the pronunciation.
Come here, help you with your words.
Sorry.
No worries.
They believe that the decapitation had occurred after death. And they were thinking that it probably happened so that they couldn't find the remains. When they found the remains, it was unidentifiable.
Anaphylabite.
Vitamin Benjamin.
It's the best.
Right. So the state of the remains suggested that the death had occurred several days before the discovery of the head. The rest of the body has still not been recovered.
To this day.
So John Walsh and his wife believed that the Hollywood Police Department botched the treatment of Adam's disappearance, first with the missing persons investigation and then with the investigation of his murder. So after some investigation, police eventually concluded that Adam was abducted by a drifter named Otis Toole near the front entrance of Sears that July afternoon. So according to Toole, he lured him into his white 1971 Cadillac with the damaged right bumper with promises of toys and candy, then proceeded to drive north on Interstate 95 towards his home in Jacksonville. Adam at first was very calm, then began to panic as they drove on. Toole punched Adam in the face, but as this just made the situation worse, he then hit him unconscious. When Toole realized Adam was still breathing, he strangled him to his death with the seatbelt, dragging him into the car, and decapitated him with the machete. Toole claimed that he wanted to make Adam his adopted son, but given the close relationship that he had with his loving parents, that wasn't going to be feasible. And DNA profiling was limited in the early 1980s, so it wasn't possible then to determine the source of the blood found in the car. The police ultimately lost the blood-stained carpet from the car, the machete used to decapitate Adam, and then eventually lost the car itself.
How do you lose a fucking car?
Yeah. When I had to read that over and over, like,
Right?
What?
What? I mean,
They lost the blood stain, the machete, and the car. All the evidence.
that's stupid.
It's just crazy.
They're all fired. Just kidding. Now they're retired.
Yeah.
But let's
Or
hire
dead.
them again, then fire them.
So Otis Toole was never charged in Adams' case. Although he provided seemingly accurate description as to how he had committed the crime, several witnesses also placed him in a Hollywood area in the days leading to Adams' disappearance. In September 1996, he died in prison at the age of 49 of cirrhosis while serving a life sentence for other crimes. So afterwards, his niece told John Walsh, who was the father of Adam, that he made a deathbed confession to Adam's murder. His confession was viewed as unreliable since he was a friend of Henry Lee Lucas. Henry Lee Lucas was a serial killer, and he would confess to more than 200 different homicides. Excuse me.
That's a good one.
And it was later revealed that most of Lucas's confessions were false, having been persuaded by the Texas Rangers. So, like, the Rangers would make him
confess.
make him own the murder, even though he didn't do it. So because Otis had ties with Henry Lee Lucas, they thought, oh, he's just another liar trying to take ownership of someone else's.
Yeah.
crime.
It's like everybody trying to say they killed John Benet Ramsey.
Yeah. Well,
It's like,
are they trying to?
there's people out there that are just like, I did it. Why would you want to claim that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Attention whores.
Yeah. So in 2007, allegations earned widespread publicity that Jeffrey Dahmer, remember Jeffrey Dahmer?
I know him.
He was arrested in Wisconsin in 1999 after killing more than a dozen men and boys.
Ugh.
Was also named as a suspect in Adam's murder. Did you know that?
I did not.
Okay. Neither did I until I read this. He was living in Miami Beach at the time, and 2 eyewitnesses placed him at the mall on the day Adam was abducted. Both witnesses recognized the man after they seen that pictures of him were released in the newspaper after his arrest. Dahmer preyed on men and boys, and his MO was severing victims' heads. Severing. Cutting off his victim's head.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so when Dahmer was interviewed about Adam in the 1990s, he repeatedly denied involvement in the crime, even stating, I've told you everything, how I kill them, how I cook them, how I ate them. Why wouldn't I tell you if I did someone else? So after the rumors surfaced, John stated that he had no evidence linking Adam's abduction and murder to Dahmer. On December 16, 2008, Hollywood, Florida Police Chief Chad Wagner, a friend of John's, announced with him present that the case had now closed. An external review of the case had been conducted, and police announced that they were satisfied with Toole as the murderer.
Oh.
So, yeah.
I'm glad you can be satisfied after losing all the shit that could have placed him there.
But, I mean, fortunately, well, not... It's like unfortunately, but fortunately. In 1984, the U.S. Congress passed the Missing Children's Assistance Act, owing in part to the advocacy of the Walshes and other parents of missing children. It allowed the formation of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, which currently exists now.
Nice.
So I don't know if you've heard Code Adam in department stores.
I haven't.
You haven't? So it's basically the Code Adam program for helping lost children in department stores is named in Adam's memory. The U.S. Congress passed the Adam Walsh Child Protection and Safety Act on July 25, 2006. The bill institutes a national database for convicted child molesters and increased penalties for sexual and violent offenses against children. And it's not to be confused with Megan's Law. Megan's Law authorizes to make information available to public regarding registered sex offenders, which was a subsection of John Wetterling's Crime Against Children and Sexual Violent Offenders Registry Act of 1994, which merely just required sex offenders to register with local law enforcement.
Nice.
So kind of all those together kind of brought light to
lots of good things.
Yeah, to laws and organizations to help with, missing children and finding them sooner than later.
It's hard, but it's good that there is a silver lining with all that.
Yes.
Crap.
Yeah, so that was my interest in, I think that I can go back to my memory of what caught my attention on true crime and such.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, that one was traumatizing, and I remember that too as a child. Well, not really a child. I think I learned about that later on because I had always loved the show that John Walsh was on, and I watched it all the time, and then all of a sudden someone was like, hey, did you hear that his kid got murdered? I'm like, what? If you can't really catch the guy that killed your child, why not catch thousands of other ones? He became Batman.
Yeah. Okay, so do you want to tell your fascination?
I
what,
do.
What got you drawn into true crime?
The reason for my obsession with true crime came from a popular question that many children ask their parents. Are we related to any famous people? And the answer I got was yes, but he wasn't famous. He was infamous.
But it has the word famous in it.
Yes. The first true crime story I was exposed to was about my great-grandfather, the original Machine Gun Kelly, the gangster, the bootlegger, bank robber, and kidnapper, not the rapper. So, George Barnes, better known as Machine Gun Kelly, is considered one of the most famous gangsters from the Prohibition era. Machine Gun was born on July 18th, 1895 to a wealthy family in Memphis, Tennessee. I read a story written by Corey Kincaid. She lived on Alcatraz when her father was a prison guard. She wrote a book all about the most wanted prisoners in Alcatraz. I met her on a trip to Alcatraz, and she was happy to tell me stories she heard. She pretty much confirmed that he was a narcissist that craved fame and fortune. According to Kincaid, his first crime was to blackmail his father after finding out he was having an affair. He demanded a bigger allowance and unlimited use of the family car. His father met his son's demands and let him use the car to cross Tennessee state lines to buy liquor for his friends. So that was like good parenting right from the get-go. The mother loved to act important and fill her son's heads. He had two of them. Oh, he was crazy. Our son's head with unrealistic expectations, promising that he was better than others and he deserved luxury, which would explain a lot. His mother died when George was a teenager, so he was left with a father that he hated. He enrolled into Mississippi State University to study agriculture. During this time, he met a young woman by the name of Geneva Ramsey, my great-grandmother, and after he met, they fell quickly in love. He said, screw school, and got married. So that's my great-grandmother.
Resemblance, I see.
You see a little bit?
A little bit.
Yeah, apparently she was a bitch.
Oh, exactly. I see a lot of that.
Yeah, right? Do you see the bitchiness in both of us?
Yes.
Yeah, she's like looking at you and she's like, what'd you say? We'll have to post that picture. Okay. He made a good living at the beginning of the marriage because he worked for Geneva's father, who was very rich, and gave him a job. He worked in the railroad building business, and I don't even know what to say. I kept trying to Google this. I was like, he built railroads. Then his father-in-law died in a work-related explosion when they were trying to create a cave in a hillside to run a railroad through. Ooh. So blew off either his arm or his leg, and then died en route to the hospital because he bled out. Oh, wow. After that, he didn't have a job anymore, and he had to become a cab driver, a cab driver in Memphis. They were struggling financially. He left his job, and at the age of 19 years old, he found himself without steady work and separated from his wife. It was about this time when Kelly took up being a small-time gangster and started a new venture as a bootlegger. He began to enjoy the financial rewards of his new trade along with the notoriety. By 1927, Kelly had already started earning his reputation in the underground world as a seasoned gangster, having weathered several arrests and serving various jail sentences. He gravitated to Oklahoma City, where he hooked up with a small-time bootlegger named Steve Anderson. Kelly soon fell for Anderson's attractive mistress, Catherine Thorne, a seasoned criminal in her own right. Thorne had come from a family of outlaws and had been arrested for various charges ranging from robbery to sex work. So he came from a wealthy family, she came from outlaws. Opposites do attract. This is a love story.
Wait, is this your great-grandma, or is this the mistress?
He's already separated. He had my granddaddy and my great-uncle by this point. He's decided to take up crime. So Catherine Thorne was twice divorced, and her second husband had been a bootlegger as well. So she had a type. And he was later found shot to death under suspicious circumstances. The official determination of death was suicide, but many people, including one of the investigators, had long suspected that Catherine was involved. So I found an article by Todd B as in ball. Vic.
Balls?
Ball.
Todd B as in balls.
Every time I want to spell something out, I'm going to use something freaking Todd B as in balls, Vic. With a V as in
Victor.
I couldn't think of anything like inappropriate for that. So he did some research behind the alleged suicide of Charles Thorne. And so the article says that the death certificate indicates the cause of death was self-inflicted gunshot wound. The incident took place at his home, and a handwritten note was found on or near him. However, family and friends who knew the couple testified that Charles Thorne did not know how to read or write. So how could he have written a suicide note? Okay, so shortly after his death, Catherine put her husband in an unmarked grave. She did many things that were suspicious. So unmarked grave, and then she immediately started selling off the property, businesses, and whatever. And so by 1929, she was able to sell off all of her deceased husband's land and businesses. And so then she lived in Fort Worth, where she and her deceased husband owned a house, and she was working as a manicurist. Nails. A few months later, she met Steve Anderson, and that relationship ultimately led her love affair with my great-granddaddy, and they became inseparable and married in Minneapolis in September of 1930. Up until this relationship with Thorne, Kelly had been a relatively small-time criminal, so her influence soon became obvious as Kelly's crime sprees would launch him into the prestigious status of public enemy number one. Catherine purchased a machine gun for Kelly and pressured her husband to practice. She was a master at marketing her husband to the underground circles and public. She was known to take the spent gun cartridges and pass them around to acquaintances at many of the underground drinking clubs. She's like, here you go.
Your turn.
Here you go. You're next. Be careful. My husband's really dangerous. Introducing them as souvenirs from her husband, many believe that Catherine was the creator of the Machine Gun Kelly image and became known as a mastermind behind several of the successful small bank robberies Kelly pulled off throughout Texas and Mississippi. In August of 1933, the FBI published wanted posters describing Kelly as an expert machine gunner and created a public frenzy that would later place Kelly into the history books. I actually, I saw one of his wanted posters on someone's shirt when I was walking, like, yeah, it was crazy. I was like, hey.
That's a great granddaddy.
That's someone I know. Okay. In July of 1933, Catherine and Kelly plotted a scheme to kidnap wealthy oil tycoon and businessman Charles Urschel. Kelly, carrying his trademark Tommy gun, and two other men carrying pistols entered the Urschel mansion in Oklahoma City. The Urschels were playing a game of bridge, that lively game of bridge that my mom loves to play with her family, with friends, when Kelly stormed in, threatening to blow everyone's head off. Kelly's new hostages were non-cooperative, and he was unable to determine which man was Urschel. The two men were forced into a sedan covered with a tarp and searched for identification. Once they found the ID on Urschel's friend, a man by the name of Walter Jarrett, they robbed him of $51 and left him on the side of the deserted road. Urschel was taken into hiding on a rural ranch. Son of a motherless goat. That is a lot of R's in that. In Texas. There was 3. Okay. In Texas, and the Kelly gang made demands for a $200,000 ransom. The Urschel family friend made drop arrangements and discovered the ransom in denominations of $20 bills. The money was delivered near the La Salle Hotel. LaSalle Hotel in Kansas City on July 30th, ending the 80-day... Wait. No, it was only 8 days, guys. 8-day ordeal. The following day, Urschel was released near Norman, Oklahoma, and casually walked into a restaurant to call for a cab. Urschel was sharp, and though blindfolded throughout the ordeal, made sure that his fingerprints were spread everywhere, counted his footsteps to various areas when blindfolded, and audible sounds of his surroundings were mentally cataloged, all of which would later become useful in the FBI investigation. After splitting the ransom money with their accomplices, Catherine and Machine Gun started state hopping, trying to stay 2 steps ahead of law officials. Back in the day, you could do that. You know, like, no one could track you. Yeah, there's no cell phone tracking you. Yeah. I mean, how exciting. Yeah. That was just my inner outlaw. Okay, and so staying steps ahead of law officials. From the several clues that Urschel was able to provide, the FBI raided the ranch and made an arrest of one of the other conspirators. The bills that had been used for payment in the ransom had traceable serial records, and the Center Bureau of Investigation, now called the FBI, started a nationwide search for whom they now suspected was George R. Kelly. George and Catherine Kelly bounced about different states, with Chicago becoming their main hub. Both dyed their hair to conceal their identities. I don't know. He dyed it black, she dyed it blonde, because I don't know if they knew how to make red yet. I don't know. Somebody email me and tell me what the colors were from back then. After several...
It was black and white.
Right? Black
you can't
and...
even see it.
You can't...
So it's like black and
yeah,
white.
but it's red. And it's like in the captions at the bottom, my hair is red. Okay. After several weeks in hiding, the couple finally made their way back to Memphis to stay with longtime friend John Titchener. Titchener. It looks like Titch and Nor. Okay. On the morning of September 26, 1933, Memphis police, along with FBI agents, surrounded the Tickner house and then made a violent forced entry.
Tickner.
Tickner.
It was Titchener and now it's Tickner.
It was said at that moment that Kelly coined the phrase, G-men, please don't shoot. So G-men, so whenever you hear that, Machine Gun Kelly made that up on the spot as he was being arrested. So G-men being like government men. Oh. Something like that. So yeah, there you go.
So like when we're at work, we could say like B-man.
B-man.
Like boss man?
Boss, yes.
Like code name. B-man. B-man. Gotta go.
And then like...
Peace out.
Yeah. B-man. Or like...
B-woman.
I don't know. I'm trying to like think of stuff on the spot. But my work brain is all like... Foggy. Let me see. Okay. Kelly was found badly hungover from the prior evening's drinking binge, still in his pajamas, and Catherine was still in bed asleep. The couple was quickly flown to Oklahoma, where they stood trial and both received life sentences. Eventually, all the accomplices were apprehended, and out of all of those, 6 were issued life sentences. Kelly was transferred to Leavenworth in Kansas, and Catherine was transferred to a federal prison in Cincinnati. Kelly was arrogant towards prison officials and bragged to the press that he would escape and break out his wife, and they would spend Christmas together. Oh. Wow. Those comments ultimately bit him in the ass, because it was decided that these threats should be taken seriously. And in August of 1934, Kelly, along with his accomplices, were transferred from Leavenworth by train to Alcatraz. Arriving on September 4th, 1934, they would be among the first group of prisoners. One of the guards that still works on Alcatraz that I met, he let me know that he arrived on the same train as Al Capone. Ooh. I think he did worse things. That's why he's more famous. I think he killed more people. Let me see. At Alcatraz, Kelly got his name Pop Gun Kelly. This was in reference, according to former prisoner, that Kelly was a model prisoner and was nowhere near the tough, brutal gangster his wife made him out to be. He was, however, constantly boasting about several robberies and murders that he had never committed. His life at Alcatraz was largely uneventful. He took a job as an altar boy in the prison chapel, worked in lawn. They had a chapel. It was underneath the prison.
But like, what are the prerequisites to being an altar boy?
I just believe in God. In prison? You know, be baptized Catholic, I guess. I don't know, because we were like, I come from a
They can murder people, apparently.
They can. For the longest time, I didn't think that he committed any murders. But I guess when him and my great-grandmother were married, in the earlier part of their marriage, he got involved in a fender bender. And during this altercation, the incident got heated. And so he ended up beating the guy to death with a tire iron. So that was his only murder. He robbed banks. He bootlegged. He did all this stuff. He kidnapped people. And the only time he murdered somebody was in a fender bender. I mean, really.
So I guess that's why he was able to be altar boy, because he didn't actually get caught for murdering.
But that must be hearsay, because wouldn't he be arrested for murder by beating someone with a tire iron? That must be like some family gossip.
Well, then maybe he never got caught until like after.
I did it. Deathbed confession.
Yeah, deathbed confession.
Deathbed confession. Okay, the warden also stated that Kelly wrote several remorseful letters to Urschel begging him to help plead his case. What an asshole, you know? It's like, I did this, but can you help me get out?
Yeah. Well, but I mean, that's what narcissists do.
They do. They do. They're
just like,
I said I was sorry.
Yeah.
Okay? I didn't mean it. You're alive. You're out there and I'm in here. He's like, can you imagine what I'm feeling right now in this prison? That's what narcissists sound like. That was my impression of one. I'll do a better one later, I promise. Okay. Keep listening, guys, please. Okay, so the kidnapping of Urschel and the 2 trials that resulted were historic in several ways. They were, 1, the first federal crime trials in the United States in which film cameras were allowed. 2, the first kidnapping trials after the passage of the Lindbergh Law, which made kidnapping a federal crime. 3, the first major case solved by J. Edgar Hoover's FBI, and 4, the first prosecution in which defendants were transported by airplane. Yay. And so he returned to Leavenworth in 1951, and then he died of a heart attack on July 18th, 1954. That was his 59th. Yeah. Oh, what? July 18th?
No, 1954. My mom was born.
When my mom was born in 1951.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But he died on his birthday, his 59th birthday.
Oh, that's how I want to die.
What?
I want to die like on my birthday.
Yeah?
Well, not like this year, but on my birthday, like in 50 years. 60 years maybe.
60 years. Yeah. As long as your body's working, it's fine.
Yeah, but I want to be like even. So I have to die the day I was born so that there's no extra days. I want to be like exactly 95 years old.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can totally relate to that. And then, but your kids are going to get sick of it. They're going to be like, oh, here she is again. And she's like, okay, guys, I'm going to go lay down real fast and die. And then like you wake up the day after, oh, it's another year. Another year of the shit. But
that's a cool. Good one. It's cool to see on your tombstone. Like, or are they called tombstones nowadays?
Tombstone? Headstone?
Headstones. There we go.
Tombstone.
Headstones.
I think you can call them both. Block of cement with your name written on it. Or a grave marker. There's like those different kinds of things.
Yeah.
Let me see. Oh, here we go. More fun facts. In popular culture, his crimes were portrayed in films as Machine Gun Kelly in 1958, starring Charles Bronson as Machine Gun Kelly. Charles Bronson was, he was famous. He did things.
Wasn't he the 007 guy?
I believe so. Yes, I'm going to say that. Somebody correct me. Anyways, no,
James Bond.
James Bond. He could. No, he's huge, and I was like, what? And I have that movie. I have Machine Gun Kelly, and I've been wanting to watch it for the longest time, but it doesn't play on our PS whatever we have.
What do you have, like VHS?
No,
8-track?
I'm like, dude, this VHS is it doesn't fit in this Xbox. No, it's a DVD. It just doesn't play. It's not, I don't know, some sort of format, I'm going to say.
Okay.
I'm not a DVD doctor. I don't know. But I do need to find probably like an OG.
I think if you take it to Costco or Sam's Club, they do like conversions.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I don't know what you would convert a DVD to, though.
Can you
like
convert
flash
this
drive?
DVD to a DVD? Yeah. DVD that plays on here. Or I can go to a thrift store and find an old DVD player, because now you can find those there.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's for like $2.
$2. And then we can watch it and then I'll return it. Then I'll donate it.
Does it fit like in your computer? Have you tried your computer?
Oh, that's a good idea. Let's try it right now. Stay for another hour and a half. Let's watch a movie. Kelly is one of the main characters in a comic book series called Pretty Baby Machine. That's I'll have to look that up. And they're also inspiration for Machine Gun Kelly in it's a 1970s song written by Danny Cooch. Cooch. And it says parentheses.
Danny Cooch.
Just call him Danny Cooch. Yes. And so, my own personal favorite, I love this one, is a scene from So I Married an Axe Murderer, where Mike Myers and a friend go on a tour of Alcatraz. The tour guide was played by the gifted Phil Hartman. And at one point, Phil Hartman's Ranger tour guide character stops and looks at the tour group to tell them a story about Machine Gun Kelly, and it goes like this. He goes, "Now, this is something the other tour guides won't tell you. In this particular cell block, Machine Gun Kelly had what we called in the prison system a bitch. And one night, in a jealous rage, Kelly took a makeshift knife, or shiv, and cut out the bitch's eyes. And as if this wasn't enough retribution for Kelly, the next day, he and 4 other inmates took turns pissing into the bitch's ocular cavities. This way to the cafeteria! End scene." And so I actually met someone who was like, yeah, oh, you're related to him? And didn't he piss in someone's ocular cavities? I'm like, that was not true. That did not happen. And so last story, regarding this. Before my grandmother died, she told me something that my grandfather told her. Back in the day, because basically he abandoned the family, and my granddaddy became a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force, and somehow my great-grandfather found out about that, and so he went up the chain of command, sending a message to everybody
to get me out of here.
Hey, it's daddy. And so he went up there trying to use the status of his son to help him with his current situation in prison. Mm-hmm. And when it got to him, he simply said, my granddad, he said he is going to stay where he belongs, in prison. And so before that, nobody knew that he was related to Machine Gun Kelly because he kept his adopted father's name.
Oh.
So yeah, and to death, he kept that name. So that's the story that got me into true crime, because I was like, I have some true crime in my family.
What better?
What better to do this?
Than have it in your blood.
Yeah. Well, that was fun. What should we do next? Let's see.
Do like a weekly reflection type thing, like maybe just debrief on our day or our yesterday.
Oh my
or
gosh,
our day
there's so
before.
much stuff that I know. There is so much.
I have
stuff.
a funny story though.
Okay, tell me.
Well, so I went to the gas station and I was coming out. I went to the attendant. The attendant.
The attendant?
Attendant. Sorry. I'm not a tenant.
The lieutenant colonel. He's the lieutenant colonel of the gas station. He's pretty high up there.
So I went to go purchase something, and when I was on my way out, there was a man who was ruggish looking, I guess, for better words. Kind of don't want to stereotype, but looked maybe like a homeless
Haggard?
man. Yeah.
Okay.
He,
Tired.
He looked tired. He was. Anyways, he had a shopping cart full of blankets and such. So he, held the door for me, and I walk out, and he turns around. He says, "Are you a Jehovah's Witness?" And I said, "Excuse me." He said, "Are you a Jehovah's Witness?" And I said, "No, I'm not." And he said, "Oh." And I kind of like giggled underneath, my breath, and I started to walk away. Mm-hmm. And then he goes, "Ma'am, I meant that in a good way. I meant that because you have keeping yourself up pretty well." He's like, "You look very nice," and I'm like,
Was that a hit? Was he hitting on you?
Was he hitting me on me? I think my face was like, "Huh?" So he had to reassure me that it wasn't.
I know.
He wasn't trying to offend me or anything. He was
your
just...
dress goes all the way down past your knees.
And so I thought,
Girl.
what am I wearing? So I did have a dress that went to my knees.
Yeah.
But I was at work, so
Yeah.
I had to. Yeah. So I just thought, it just kind of made me chuckle, made me laugh. Like, well, where did he get that from? So then I went back to work thinking, what do I have to do?
What do I?
Yeah.
What do I have to do to change this up?
But yeah, not that it was offensive. I just thought I didn't really see how that related to me.
It totally unrelated.
Yeah, but it was just a little chuckle.
I'm trying to think of a story for me, like a funny story. Have I told you anything? Or something I should be like, sup, I have something to tell you later. Help me. Help my brain. I know that I have work shit all the time I could talk about. But
no, but like something funny. Nothing
like something lighthearted.
Nothing
something
to where
funny.
we're going to be all bitter and upset and like,
That's true. That is true.
Just something where we can like laugh off.
Laugh off, haha. Oh wait, well, your recent paranoia whenever we're on the phone. Oh my gosh! Since we started like recording, and now we know what it sounds like when we're actually being recorded, and then it's just like on the phone, and all of a sudden you hear a click. It's like, are we being recorded? And I'm like, wait, what? And then all of a sudden, click, bing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he just hung up on me. I think that's going to be our new thing, but it's real.
We just hang up,
and it's like
we don't even say bye. We're just like someone's
yeah.
on the line.
I know. I want to find like so many happy stories. Work I can totally talk about, but I don't want to be mad. I don't want to talk poop.
Well, next time we'll come prepared on that. I guess we kind of just threw that in, like I figured like a
debrief from the week.
Yeah, it doesn't have to necessarily be work, but just something lighthearted.
Something that
something where we can just be like, yeah, this happened. At the time, it may have been like, what the hell?
Yeah,
but then you like laugh it off, like.
I'm going to remember that, and then I'm not going to tell you about it until we come here.
Until I try.
Yes, exactly. That was fun. Our very first episode. We're going to have fun editing this and making it all perfect. It'll be out in like 4 months. I'm just kidding. Another 4 months.
Hopefully, today's November 1st, so hopefully, like within the next couple weeks,
we're being accountable.
Release it and then just keep up and
once we get used to the whole process.
Bi-weekly, weekly. What are we planning?
We want to do maybe a full episode and then maybe tea time,
like once a week. So like have 2 episodes a week. I mean, not episodes, but like.
We'll speed it up when we get it figured out, all of our stuff figured out. You know what I mean? Like, I do want to do once weekly, and then like tea time in the car, which is going to be fun.
But like tea time in the car, would that happen like every week?
I think so. I think that'll happen.
It's going to work me like a child labor.
I know. Well, I mean, we can do, maybe we can do tea time once a month to start, because then we don't want to.
Well, actually, with tea time, it's not that bad, because they're literally just.
Yeah.
Take our lunch break and record. Sorry, I was drinking some Diet Coke. I had a burp. out.
You know, trying to do like a quiet burp. I totally heard it. It's okay. Everybody does that. Okay, guys. Well, this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah. So we got through our first
episode.
So stage fright. Maybe
Yes.
pretty much. And I kind of loosened up towards the end.
Right?
After I was done, I was like, okay, your turn.
Yes.
Yeah. But thank you all for listening.
Yeah, we hope we become a part of your OCD routine. And if you're not OCD, we hope you keep listening and laughing at us.
So rate, review, and subscribe to keep these divas alive.
Hey!